You're on a routine flight from Tokyo to Osaka. It's a warm summer evening, families are chatting, kids are excited, business people are relaxing. But in just 12 minutes, everything turns into a nightmare. This is the story of Japan Airlines Flight 123, the worst single-plane crash ever. Over 500 people on board and only 4 survivors. Stick around, because this tale of heroism, tragedy, and lessons learned will keep you on the edge of your seat. It was August 12, 1985. Japan Airlines Flight 123 was a Boeing 747, a huge jumbo jet built for short routes in Japan. That day, it carried 509 passengers and 15 crew members. Total 524 souls. Many were heading home for a holiday called Obon to visit family graves. The plane was full of everyday people, mums with kids, singers, executives, even a famous Japanese pop star. The captain was Masami Takahama, 49 years old, with over 12,000 hours of flying experience. His co-pilot was Yutaka Sasaki, and the flight engineer was Hiroshi Fukuda. They were pros. The plane took off from Haneda Airport at 6:12 p.m. right on time. Everything seemed normal as they climbed to 24,000 feet. But this jet had a hidden problem. 7 years earlier, in 1978, it had a tail strike during landing. The back hit the runway hard. Boeing fixed it, but they messed up. The rear pressure bulkhead, that's the wall at the back that keeps air pressure inside, was repaired wrong. They used 1 row of rivets instead of 2. Over time, with thousands of flights, that weak spot got worse. Metal fatigue set in, like a crack in a dam ready to burst. 12 minutes after takeoff at 6:24 p.m., disaster struck. Boom! A huge explosion rocked the plane. The bulkhead ruptured, causing explosive decompression. Air rushed out like a bomb. The vertical tail fin, the big stabilizer at the back, was blown off. Hydraulic lines snapped, meaning the pilots lost control of the flaps, rudders, and elevators. The plane was like a car, with no steering or brakes. Passengers heard a loud bang. Oxygen masks dropped. Debris flew everywhere. One survivor later said it felt like the plane was hit by lightning. The cabin filled with white mist from the sudden pressure drop. People screamed, prayed, held loved ones. Some wrote goodbye notes to their families on napkins. Now, here's where the heroes shine. The pilots didn't give up. For 32 long minutes, that's half an hour, they fought to save the plane. Without hydraulics, the jet started phugoid cycles. It would nose up, climb, stall, then dive down over and over like a roller coaster from hell. The pilots used engine power to try and steer, more thrust on one side to turn. They radioed air traffic control. "We have an emergency, uncontrollable." Controllers suggested emergency landings, but the plane was too unstable. It veered off course, heading toward mountains. Passengers braced. One off-duty flight attendant, Yumi Ochiai, 26, was on board. She later described the terror: the plane rocking wildly, people vomiting, flight attendants trying to calm everyone. As the sun set, the plane flew in circles over the mountains northwest of Tokyo. The pilots managed to keep it airborne longer than anyone thought possible, but gravity won. At 6:56 p.m., Flight 123 slammed into Mount Takamagahara, a steep ridge in the Japanese Alps, about 100 kilometers from Tokyo. The impact was massive. The plane broke apart, caught fire, and scattered wreckage over a huge area. Rescue teams couldn't reach the site right away. It was dark, the terrain was rough, and helicopters couldn't land. They waited until morning. When they arrived, it was heartbreaking. 520 people died, the highest death toll from any single plane crash in history. But amazingly, 4 survived. All 4 were women seated near the back, where the tail broke off first. Yumi Ochiai, the off-duty attendant, had injuries but remembered everything. There was Keiko Kawakami, 12, and her mum, Mikiko, and Hiroko Yoshizaki, 34, with her 8-year-old daughter, Mikiko. They were thrown from the plane and landed in trees or soft spots. Yumi said she heard voices crying for help all night, but many died from shock, cold, or injuries before rescue. Doctors later found some bodies intact with no major wounds. That means some passengers survived the crash, but passed away overnight because help came too late. If rescuers had arrived sooner, maybe more lives could have been saved. The investigation was huge. They recovered the black boxes, the flight data, and voice recorders. It confirmed the faulty repair caused the bulkhead to fail. Boeing admitted the mistake. Japan Airlines took responsibility too. The crash changed aviation forever. Now repairs are double-checked, and bulkheads are inspected more often. It also improved emergency response in remote areas. But controversies linger. Some say the military delayed rescue or even shot the plane down by mistake during a drill. Official reports say no, it was just a tragic accident. Today, a memorial stands at the crash site. Every year, families climb the mountain to remember. Japan Airlines Flight 123 reminds us how fragile life is and how human error can lead to disaster. But it also shows the bravery of those pilots and the strength of survivors. If you learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe for more true stories, and comment below. What's the scariest flight story you've heard? Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.